On this episode of That One Movie Podcast, we are going to review Alex Garland, Civil War, the movie that is, oh my goodness, Holden, during an election year, what are you doing?
This is a dangerous film, Jimmy.
Oh my gosh, we're going to bomb each other. Let's go grab your guns, Holden, and not these things, lightning and thunder, as I flex my biceps.
For you audio listeners.
There you go. You can hear the muscles ripping. You can hear the t-shirt just shredding under our massive pectorals for both of us. Again, watch on YouTube. You are really missing out.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Alex Garland's Civil War. Of course, we'll start off spoiler-free. We'll warn you before we dive into all the spoiler goodness. But beforehand, Holden, we got to talk about this week's news in the world of entertainment. What are our top stories from this week?
Yeah, so some of the things we're going to talk about, we have trailers for Maxxxine and Joker Folie à Deux.
Oh, Joker, no thank you,
No,
or
thank you.
yes please?
Yes, please. And then we also have sad Saw news, unfortunately, we'll get to. And also various announcements from CinemaCon this week.
CinemaCon. Cannot wait. All that and more. Again, use the time codes down in the description to jump to whichever segment, story, review that catches your excitement. I don't know, catches your eye?
Yeah.
Catches your ear?
Yeah, whichever, regardless of if you're on YouTube or audio, I guess.
There we go. We are just so inclusive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stick around for the whole show. I'm Jimmy Youthy.
I'm Holden Sutter.
And it's time for Tom.
Tom.
That One Movie Podcast.
Tom.
All right, Jimmy. Before we talk about Civil War, let's do some Toms.
Let's talk about the Tom's entertainment news.
The Toms.
Toms is the rapid fire segment in which we rate the news of the week in the world of entertainment on a scale of 3 famous Toms: Brokaw, Bombadil, and Bergeron. Brokaw's the highest, Bombadil's the lowest, and Bergeron is somewhere in between. Jimmy, let's get to it.
Yeah, give him a little good luck kiss.
Yes. First off, we've got a couple trailers. Let's start off with Maxxxine. This is the new film by Ty West from A24. It's a sequel to the films from 2 years ago, right?
Pearl?
Yeah, Pearl and X. They came out in the same year.
2021, I think,
yes.
right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Is
Is that 3 years ago or 2022?
It might have been
What year
2022.
did X come out?
I think it's
What
2022
year
because I don't think it was
X
last
come
year, but it was
out?
the year before. Yeah.
2022.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is the third one. This one's been, they like teased it at the end of Pearl. But what do you think of this trailer?
I really like this. This exceeded my expectations. Not what I thought it was going to be, I guess. I mean, obviously, Maxxxine, you thought something with like the porn industry in the 80s with the triple X. But then it's like, oh, the Night Stalker.
Jimmy's upset it's not porn. That's what I'm hearing.
Wow. No, I said it exceeded my expectations.
Okay. He's happy. He's happy it's not porn.
Yes,
that's good.
Holden.
Yeah.
See, you never listen.
My bad.
Holden's sad. You're just
I'm
projecting.
sad. My bad.
Projecting.
Yeah,
Holden.
I was in my own little bubble here.
Yeah, it's okay.
But-
no judgment.
But anyway, Maxxxine. Yeah, it's
Jimmy, what did you think? Interrupts me halfway through. Doesn't let me even say anything.
fine. You finish.
I was gonna say, ooh, it's the Night Stalker and Giancarlo Esposito as heir.
yeah, which is interesting. I've never heard of the Night Stalker. Apparently, it's a real thing.
You've never heard of the Night Stalker?
No.
Wow, Holden.
LA serial killer in the 80s?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar, I guess. Not up on my LA lore.
I feel like that's not. I mean, it's not. It's not like the Zodiac killer, I suppose, but it's not. It's not Ted Bundy, but it's certainly the next tier.
Well, I mean, I don't.
He's got his own Netflix show that I watched like 1.5 episodes of.
Oh, okay.
So you know he's a real deal.
Yeah, I'm not like big into true crime or anything, so I feel like I only know like the really big names, I guess. So yeah, the Ted Bundys, the Zodiac killers, them, but John Wayne Gacy.
Ted Cruz.
Yeah, Ted Cruz. There we go. Yeah, it's an interesting aesthetic. It doesn't look like it's as horror focused as the other two. But I'm sure that
maybe.
yeah, and I mean, at least the way the trailer is presented gives that impression, but I'm sure it will be. I'm expecting a dark turn for this.
I feel like
movie.
I need to watch that Netflix series now to know what the Night Stalker is like.
Do you know what the series is called?
I think it's just called Night Stalker.
Oh, okay.
On Netflix, I think. I feel like I need to watch it though, just to see how they like riff off of it in the way that like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood riffs off like the Charles Manson.
Yeah,
murders.
I was wondering if it was going to go in some weird direction like that. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, this movie has a very good cast, very stacked cast. Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
Lily Collins, Giancarlo Esposito, as you said.
The guy from The Watcher on Netflix, the Italian guy.
Yeah, Bobby Cannavale, I think is how you
Something
say
like
his
that.
name, and others. But yeah, looks good.
The
I don't know.
house is in it. It looks like she's some sort of descendant, somehow tied. Like I'm pretty sure there's a shot in the trailer of looking in the house and like the weird.
Well,
lady or
they're
stuff.
looking in the house. Isn't that like the Bates Hotel or whatever they're looking at? I think it was on that set because there's a shot where it says Bates Motel and then it's like the house in the background where I think Psycho takes place. I don't know. I could be wrong. That's what I gathered
you could
from
not
it.
be wrong, Alden. I like it. I think it was like, oh wow, that was even. I'm excited for this, but now I'm even more excited. So I'm gonna give it a Brokaw Holden. I thought it was a good trailer. I really still don't know a ton about this.
Good
but
trailer because it gets
seems-
you interested without telling you too
Yeah,
much.
unhinged Mia Goth once again.
Yeah, which is always good. Yeah, coming out in July. So there you go. 2 Brokaws from us. The other trailer we have this week, Joker Folie à Deux, sequel to the Joker from a few years ago.
Joker Folie à Une.
Folie à Une, yes. So what do you think of this, Jimmy? Very anticipated trailer.
What the world needs now. Look, I'm still skeptical. Mm-hmm. I would like for this to be good. It does seem like he's going to give a whole "we live in a society" speech at the end again.
That'd be great. That's what I need.
And Harley's going to be there and be like, "Yeah, we live in a society, and it's sexist."
Yeah, or something.
Something. I mean, the set designs look beautiful, and the lighting looks very nice again.
Yeah. I see personally, I think this is a very good trailer. I think like it's not on the level of like the first Joker trailer, which that was like early on for us in the podcast, but we both loved that trailer. But it is, I think, very good. It's very good at establishing the visual style of it, which it looks very interesting. The first one was very inspired by like King of Comedy and Taxi Driver and all of that. This one has more musical inspirations, like
Singing in the Rain.
yeah, Singing in the Rain, Umbrellas of Cherbourg, all of those. But it's like, I don't know.
What other movies is Todd Phillips just gonna copy?
Yeah, right. Well, and I don't mind if I don't know. I think it's interesting to kind of go in this completely different direction with it. Sure, there's a good chance he could just rip off some movies again, which is its own thing. But I don't know. It looks interesting. I think it's a good trailer. Lady Gaga looks, like she's giving quite a performance. Joaquin Phoenix, I'm sure, will be as good as he was in the last one, probably. So yeah, I think it's a solid trailer. I think my cynicism with this movie is mostly washed away right now. I think I'm much more like anticipating it than I'm dreading it at this point. Because initially we were kind of on a similar level of just not being interested at all. But this trailer at least has me interested. It's swinging for the fences. I think we'll see. See if it lands.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I just need to just not watch any Todd Phillips interviews because that will just make me try
to steer clear of those before
separate the art from the artist.
This is coming out in October.
Yeah, October 4th. What is 4 in French? And they're like un, deux, trois.
I don't know any French.
Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower. Baguette.
Wow. Gotta love that. Apologies to the 0 French listeners that we have.
You can make fun of us.
Yeah. I liked the title reveal at the end. Harley Quinn's outfit is cool, I guess. It's got like the red and black, nice. I don't really care about. I don't get like, oh my gosh, that outfit looks ridiculous. That's not like the character.
No, I mean, to me, it's like in the same vein as like his outfit from the first movie, which I think is a very good. I think that's a really good look, especially just for like a completely different take on Joker. I've always been a big fan of that Joker look, so why not have a different Harley Quinn look?
Yeah. It sounds like there's gonna be a prison break. I wonder, like how much of this is gonna just be in their heads?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Quite
too.
a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally a shot in the trailer where it's like they're dancing in the street, but in their head, you
like
think
Arkham Hotel, or
dancing on a rooftop or something. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that. I'm sure that's like most of the musical numbers are just going to be in their head, I would think. But could be wrong. We'll see. Did you like everyone's talking about the shot at the end with the lipstick on the glass? Did you like that?
It's a very impressive technical shot.
Yeah, it's cool.
I wonder how many times it took to do it, or like the behind the scenes. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give it to them. I'll give it a Bergeron. I'm still just, we'll see.
I'm at a Brokaw for the trailer at the very least. Looks good.
I'm a Joker hater.
You are a Joker hater.
I am a Joker hater. My heart will be softened if it's legitimately good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've both like. I don't remember how we reviewed the first movie. I think we liked it a decent amount, but I think we've just got
on it pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think that's happened for both of us. But anyway, other news, Jimmy, a bit of sad news this week. Saw 11, our most anticipated movie of this year, has been delayed a whole year.
No!
My gosh. Coming out now, September 26th, 2025. No official reason was given, but I assume it's just because a tight schedule of a year is probably a bit too tight, maybe.
Oh, I know, man, devastation.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. Jimmy hadn't sent it to me, so I knew I had to break the news to him. He hadn't seen it yet. I was so sad. A whole year without Saw. And I saw this was pointed out online, but that means there's not going to be a release on Saw's 20th anniversary, which is this year.
No!
Which is kind of sad.
They'll re-release the original.
Probably.
They did it for the 10th anniversary, which was right before I saw it.
I will go see Saw 1 if it re-releases in theaters.
I will see Saw. I will see Saw to see Saw 1.
Absolutely. But this is really sad.
A film that demands to be seen on the big screen.
No, this is sad though. Saw 11 being delayed a whole year. I guess it makes sense because we didn't really know anything about it. There were no even like production stills or anything released. I mean, trailer wasn't that big of a surprise that it wouldn't be out yet, but yeah, really nothing had come out about this movie other than Kevin being back. Mm-hmm. So
we love you, Kevin.
We love you, Kevin. So I don't know. I mean, on one hand, very, very sad we're not getting one this year. On the other hand, if they're taking their time to make it good, is what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll have to land on Bergeron here just because of that. I mean, devastating. Just modern day tragedy. That we have to wait 360 something days for another Saw movie beyond waiting the other 6 months or whatever. But no, I'll make it good on it, obviously. But not too good because it's Saw. Just make it entertaining.
Yeah,
really.
just make it funny. And give the fans what they want.
Please make the plot more convoluted.
Yes, tie it more into like 4 through 7 era. Bring back Hoffman.
I want Hoffman to make zombie Jigsaw. They put John Kramer's brain into AI.
There we go.
Cyborg.
His brain's in the computer.
That's it. I'm putting the brain in the robot.
Maybe this just means we'll for sure have to play the game at some point this year.
Yes,
so then we have some Saw content
to fill the void in my heart. My nephew had a toy plastic saw and he was pretending to cut off our limbs, and I said,
and you were like, "This is a Saw reference."
Lisan al Gaib. Just mixing metaphors. I'm like, this kid, 4-year-old, he's ready. I'll show him the original. He's mature.
Oh yeah,
enough.
he's ready. He knows.
Of course, I did say he doesn't want us to saw through these chains. He wants to saw off our feet.
He probably giggled at that.
No, he wasn't listening.
Oh, okay.
He was too busy
sawing.
punching me in the nuts.
But next up news, Jimmy. This is actually brand new today, but it was revealed that for Sonic, the new Sonic movie, Keanu Reeves is voicing Shadow the Hedgehog.
Nice.
I think that's fitting. I know like some people want, the game cast or whatever, because that's what they did with Tails. I'm pretty sure the voice actors for Tails is just who voices him in the game. But yeah, I think Keanu Reeves, the voice kind of matches the aesthetic. Keanu Reeves is obviously just entertaining.
I was waiting in bated breath to find out who's going to voice Shadow.
I didn't really. I'm not going to pretend like I really cared. I'm not like a huge Sonic fan. I'm just aware the Sonic fandom is very testy. They have a lot of very strong opinions. They're like maybe worse than Star Wars fans in a lot of ways. But it seems to be people seem to be pretty pleased with this kind of celebrity casting. So yeah, I think that's cool. I like Keanu Reeves, so I'll give it a Brokaw. Sure.
Meow.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not? For the Sonic fandom. Good shakes at Sonic.
Yes. Jimmy. Damien Chazelle. It turns out he's not in director jail. He's actually just directing a movie about jail.
Oh.
His next movie is confirmed this week is going to be releasing in 2025 by Paramount, who also released Babylon, and I don't know if they did. They did La La Land, right? Did they release La La Land?
That's a great question.
Am I crazy? They at least did Babylon. His next movie coming out 2025, based on a script he wrote. So he's writing, directing. But the only thing that's known about it is that it's apparently set in a prison.
And that's a rumor.
Yeah. But cool that we're getting a new Damien Chazelle movie so soon. Mm-hmm. Very exciting. Not much to say about it really, other than where I'm glad that he's, Babylon bombed and he's able to just do another movie right away.
Releasing in 2025, I'm skeptical.
Yeah, me too. Well, Babylon? We had Babylon on our most anticipated 2 years in a row, right? Like that was coming out in a December. When did that movie come out? 2024, 2022. It was originally coming out like end of 2021. Got delayed a whole year, so very likely this could happen again. But I'm seated regardless.
He's
Jimmy
4 for 4 in my book.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a Brokaw. I'm glad he's not in director jail.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about First Man. Did Paramount do First Man? No idea.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter, but Brokaw for me as well.
Maybe he's doing the new Star Trek movie.
Maybe. Probably not.
Is there any Star Trek news? Oh yeah, there is.
Well, good transition.
I was like, there's a 25% chance that there's a Star Trek story.
There is actually. Yeah, so this goes into the CinemaCon stuff. But there was a new Star Trek announced, a new Star Trek theatrical film.
Nice.
Separate from the still in development Star Trek 4, apparently, but set in the same universe.
Oh, great.
It's a prequel.
Oh, wow.
Set decades before the J.J. Abrams reboot.
Oh.
And this is also releasing in 2025. So it could be Damien Chazelle's movie. Probably not, but yeah. This seems strange because
then it's just not the characters from Star Trek.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
That's stupid.
Yeah, why does it need to be set in this? I don't know. Like, I don't know. A prequel. Why? Like, just have it be its own thing. I don't know. It's very bizarre. I've never been.
That's where I'm at. Bombadil.
Yeah, I'll probably be at a Bergeron. I've never been like the biggest Star Trek fan. I guess we probably talked about this a couple weeks ago. Our feelings on Star Trek. But yeah, I guess. Side note before we continue, is CinemaCon like always been a thing? I don't like this is like
this the one that's in Brazil?
I don't know, but there's like just like so many things came out about it this week. I even like I didn't put everything
Las
down
Vegas.
this week. Okay,
Las Vegas, the Brazil of Nevada.
Yeah, really. If you think about it. No, but I there's like even more news than what I put down here just because I didn't want this episode to be super long. Yeah, I don't know. It was just bizarre. It feels like Comic-Con news, but just not at Comic-Con. Bizarre.
CinemaCon.
Anyway, Jimmy, next up, also from Paramount, a lot of Paramount news. With we were waiting with bated breath to see if the post-credit scene of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, where it's teased that G.I. Joe would come to fruition. Yeah, it is. We're getting a Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover film. Wow. Jimmy, are you excited?
That doesn't sound like money into the furnace.
Yeah, right. When
Paramount, you literally could have just paid me $100,000 and you would have been more financially viable.
Yeah, probably.
Seriously. Paramount, it's not too late. Just cancel it. $100,000 to me. It'll be better for your company to do that.
So the thing,
I will at least spend some of that money on tickets to see your movies.
The thing with this is G.I. Joe, these G.I. Joe movies have not been profitable for, I don't know. I don't know how the old one, like Rise of Cobra, probably made a little money. I'm guessing that second one didn't do very good.
Retaliation, right?
Yeah, whatever that's called. Because it never
Snake
got
Eyes.
another one. And the Snake Eyes bombed. And Transformers is doing worse and worse as it goes on. Rise of the Beast didn't do particularly well.
There's going to be that animated one.
Yeah, an animated Transformers movie is coming out later this year. But who knows how that'll be. But yeah, what is this? Why are you doing this? Why do you think this is a good idea? I don't know. This is like a bombadil for me.
You said 2025 or 2026?
Yep, 2025 or 2026 is when this is coming out.
Or never. Why would you make this?
Look, if they saw the returns on Rise of the Beast and they're like, we can still make this, I don't think they're going to cancel it. I think they're going to go through with this, and it's just going to be a failure. So, whatever. Other news, Jimmy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is getting an R-rated live-action movie, which is strange, titled The Last Ronin, based on the acclaimed comic miniseries of the same name. The premise of this series is that it was made by the original TMNT creators, but it's Michelangelo is the only surviving turtle after an accident that resulted in the other turtles, Shredder and Splinter's deaths, and he comes back after living in solitude to exact his revenge on the Foot Clan. Apparently, it's a very good comic series, like miniseries. So, I don't know. Don't know a ton beyond that. Sounds interesting, aside from the fact that it's live action. Why is this live action?
I don't know. That's curious.
I guess now thinking about it, if they're wanting to make it R-rated, that's probably why. Because I feel like how often do you have R-rated animated movies that make a ton of money?
How many R-rated animated movies are there?
Not many. And I think that plays into
Name
it.
one. Can you name one R-rated animated movie?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can name ones that are like not super mainstream, but I'm trying to think of like
name one. I literally can't think of one.
Well, I would think like
movie.
the Evangelion movies I just watched.
Okay, those are R-rated.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm trying to.
Can you think of one American movie that's R-rated animated?
I feel like there has to be one. I feel like there has to have been one within the last 5 years, but
Sausage Party?
Oh yeah, Sausage Party. There you go. I guess that's like the big one, but not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess that's probably why they're doing it live action. Still seems strange. I don't know exactly how that'll work. I'm guessing that Michelangelo will just be a CG character, but who knows? Maybe it'll be like the 90s TMNT.
Maybe
movies.
It'll be the painter.
Yeah, maybe.
What am I doing in this body? All I want to do is paint the ceiling. Man, we're going after the Italians, the French.
Oh my gosh.
We can't isolate. We can't alienate the British though, because we do have a couple British listeners.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think this sounds like an interesting idea? I think it sounds like it could be cool.
Sure.
For me. The fact that it's live action, I think I'm going to settle on a Bergeron. But
Cool
interesting
name.
concept.
The Last Ronin.
The Last Ronin is a cool name. It is. The thing I will say is it's going to be like confusing for casual viewers that also have like the animated movies coming out at the same time, and they're going to be like, "Is this connected?
Should I bring my 8-year-old to this movie?
To The Last Ronin?"
I'm a grandma.
Next up, Jimmy. Blumhouse is developing a new Blair Witch film, described as a new take.
Go stand in that corner.
Yeah, go stand in the corner. Two people stand in the corner.
Oh boy, two people stand in the corner.
Stand in a different corner. I'm not sure if we've ever talked about Blair Witch. What do you think of Blair Witch?
A product of its time that doesn't really hold up, I don't think. I think if you were alive at the time, it was a very special experience, and I think if you're not, it's just like, well, okay, I see how this pioneered things, but in a vacuum, I don't think it really has. I mean, it's a decent found footage thing that was probably just way cooler of an experience in that age.
The only time I saw it was in high school, and I mean, there's a lot of movies that I saw in high school that I didn't like that I like now, so maybe I should revisit it at some point. But I was pretty lukewarm on it, just because, as you said, product of its time. It's very pioneering in how it uses its found footage stuff. It's very impressive in a lot of ways in how it presents itself. I think, like, obviously the marketing behind it was pretty genius, and that's part of the reason why it was
insanely genius.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why it was so big.
Is it the original found footage film, or
no? I mean, it was like the first like really popular one. There were ones before it, but yeah, it's just not one that really affects me that much. I don't find it particularly scary. I appreciate it. I can appreciate what it did for horror movies, but not really for me personally.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with that being said, I have not seen the other two Blair Witch movies that have come out, but apparently they're not good. So.
I always get Blair Witch and the Slender Man movies kind of conflated. Like not like the original Blair Witch. Like that's clearly distinct, but all the reboots, I'm like, okay, is the movie I'm thinking of a Blair Witch reboot or a Slender Man reboot?
Well, there were that last one that came out. I feel like came out around the same time as that Slender Man movie.
Didn't they make a game too?
Yes, and I have played that. I actually do like that game a decent amount. It's pretty low budget, so it's not like the most visually impressive game, but it's a pretty good horror game.
Go stand in that corner.
Yeah.
And be scared.
So I guess there is one aspect of the Blair Witch franchise I do enjoy. But yeah, I don't know. Blumhouse, I mean, they just scoop up all these horror franchises and some of them work, but a lot of them don't. That Exorcist
the
movie was
recent
not very
track
good.
record of Halloween Ends and The Exorcist.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not-
to be fair, we never saw The Night Swim or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, was that Blumhouse?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That seems like a Blumhouse movie. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Blumhouse, more like Bumhouse. Oh, got him.
Crazy that they released Whiplash.
Wow. You know what?
I'll give a Bergeron,
I guess. But
yeah, if you get like an interesting filmmaker behind it, I think it's something that if you have a vision for it, you could do something interesting with. My thinking is it'll just be kind of generic though, so we'll see.
Probably.
And speaking of Five Nights at Freddy's, the last piece of news is that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is confirmed.
Folie Deux.
Yeah, Folie Deux, releasing in fall of next year. So
Freddy Deux.
With any luck, we'll be able to see this and Saw in the same weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, big surprise. That first movie made a lot of money. Was not good though. So it was pretty funny. There were some pretty funny moments in it. I'll give it that. My second lowest rated movie of last year, I think. Only beat by Rebel Moon. So
Bergeron. A lot of young people in Holden will be excited.
I'm giving it Bombadil actually, so yeah. I'm not excited. But I will probably watch it.
Is
being quite honest.
Matthew Lillard's character still alive, I guess. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be or undead or something.
Yeah.
He's gonna be there. So
all right.
Jimmy, with that, I believe that's it for news this week. There was like a Star Wars Outlaws thing that I did not watch. So
I don't think that game looks any good. I just am like, wow. I don't really. It's like, ooh, look, there's Han Solo and Carbonite and Jabba. I'm like, isn't this supposed to not be
Amelia
this?
Clark?
She's in it.
Yeah, I saw her characters in
notice.
it. I don't know if it's her playing it, but her character's in it.
Oh yeah, Kira.
Yeah.
How did I
There you go.
remember? That is a poll.
Well, that's why I think it's funny that people are like, oh, spotted that iconic character in the
How
trailer.
did I pull that
That's
from
pretty
a
impressive.
movie I have not seen since it was in theaters?
Yeah. The only reason I know it is because I saw people say the name online, but that's impressive you pulled that.
6 years ago, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
6 years
Time
ago. Wow,
flies
yeah.
when you haven't had a
Or
Star
no,
Wars
no,
movie.
it'd be 5 years ago because it was
20. No, it
Oh
was
no, you're right. You're
2018,
right. Yeah, 2018. I always think that Last Jedi came out 2018, but no, it's 2017.
Idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's I mean, I don't know. It just, I mean, from that initial like reveal trailer and what little I've seen, it just looks like a generic Ubisoft open world game, but Star Wars. Is that what you got from this extra thing that they showed?
Look, I think the Ubisoft, however you're supposed to say it, open world games are better than they're given credit for. Like they're solid. It's just
they're solid, but they're just not very creative.
I don't know. I think they're overhated. But I'm just like, I don't. I've gotten so picky with video games that it's just a video game snob now. That I'm like, I don't got time for that. I still haven't played Jedi Survivor.
If you're not developed by Naughty Dog or Insomniac, you don't have anything to do with them. Yeah, I mean,
Sucker Punch.
I guess not even Insomniac. You won't play Ratchet and Clank, so
I started one of them.
Oh, nice. You started it good.
With that, Holden, I don't really like those comments. I think we should fight about it. That's a little civil war, if you will. Huh?
Yeah, so on to our review of Civil War, I guess.
Yeah, they call my fists the Western Alliance, if you know what I mean.
I'm the Florida Alliance. There we go.
Yeah, here's California, here's Texas, here's a knuckle sandwich. All right, Civil War, Alex Garland's hot movie. It's so divisive. Oh my gosh, America's
dangerous.
Gonna blow up.
This is like the Joker.
Oh my goodness,
the Joker all over again.
Oh, it is. Let's talk about it. Spoiler free at first. You're safe to listen to this if you have not seen the movie, and then we'll dive into spoilers right after this.
All right. Non-spoilers for Alex Garland's Civil War, written and directed by him, Alex Garland.
Alex Garland. Yes, very good. Hey, Holden, oh no, America, it's in a civil war again.
Oh no.
Back at
the
it.
second
Oops,
one. Yeah.
I did it again.
Round 2. Civil War 2.
Abraham Lincoln's back. He's a zombie. No,
Yeah.
I wish. That's what this movie was missing. Zombie Abraham Lincoln, zombie Jefferson Davis, just
Absolutely.
doing a good old arm wrestle. No, let me just start off. The marketing for this movie is horrible. The marketing for this movie did not represent what this movie was at all. In my opinion,
I guess aside from like the main trailer that's released, I guess I haven't seen too much. So
it's just like that is not what this movie is at all. Like the picture, even like the poster of like people like sitting with their snipers and the torch of the Statue of Liberty. If you're expecting this,
which
big
by the way, dumb image. Why would you be up there?
To snipe people?
I guess
it's a vantage point. Use your brain.
From Ellis Island.
That's the wrong island.
Oh, is it?
Nimrod. Ellis Island's a different island.
The Liberty Island.
I think it's Liberty Island.
I don't know.
Liberty City. Nico. A little GTA 4 reference for you. Yeah, there you go. Let's see, Holden. Look, America's at war again. War has been going on for a while at the beginning of this movie.
Unclear how
This
long.
movie is not about like the politics of it at all. There is no like, oh, the right side is correct or the left side is correct. It's mainly just that dystopian future group of people need to get from point A to point B, and let's explore human nature. It's The Last of Us. And I really liked it because of it.
Oh, see, I was going to say I did not really like this movie. So this is a civil war of sorts. No, so I didn't hate this movie or anything. I just think it's like very mid, I'd say.
Wow. I disagree.
There's certain things I do appreciate about it, but there's also a lot that I just think is like uninteresting and done much better in other movies.
In The Last of Us.
Yeah, well,
you could say it.
Yeah, and part of it. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I guess where should we start with this?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. I mean, that's where I was gonna say. Like the market, it's just people going from point A to point B, and it's a very until the third act, which is where I think it kind of falls apart a little bit, especially the ending. It's very small in scope, and it doesn't dive into the politics, which I think is just for the film's benefit. Is that it does not portray who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. It is simply these reporters, essentially, like without really spoiling anything. The plot synopsis is this group of photojournalists / reporters just want to get to Washington, D.C. from New York City. They kind of have to go this weird route just because of the nature of the war and what highways and roads are available. And they need to beat these rebel forces from getting to the White House and taking the president because they want to interview the president somehow before he gets captured inevitably from what it seems like Nick Offerman, which if you're expecting a lot of them, very limited role.
Very limited.
And so it's just like these little vignettes from point A to point B.
Garland previously did 28 Days Later, which
that's true.
Last of Us takes some from, and this likewise takes some from. So
I would need to rewatch that, but I like this more than 28 Days Later.
I probably like 28 Days Later more. Neither of us are like as hot on that movie as a lot of people are. But for me, I'm not on the complete opposite opinion on the fact that this movie doesn't have the politics in it, but I do think this movie is like aggressively has nothing to say. I think it's like almost just we talked about Godzilla X Kong, right? Which is a movie we both enjoyed and is absolutely a movie with nothing to say, which is fine for that.
So
movie.
I have convinced you that it's a good movie.
No,
yes, I did.
I enjoy that movie, and I said that at the time.
I win. Check out our Godzilla versus Kong review where I convinced Holden it's a good movie.
But anyway, so in like that case, I don't mind it for that. But this movie is like, it's a movie that is, I think, inherently with this setting, like regardless of if the marketing didn't play into it as much, I think having a modern or near future civil war in America, especially considering like our current political unrest and whatnot, there's a lot implied there. There's a lot of things that could be said there. And I don't necessarily think Alex Garland needs to take a side or whatever, or agree with my own personal politics or anything, but like it. He could do a little dabbling of criticizing one side, then criticizing the other side, or, throwing in little tidbits here and there of stuff.
I don't think so at all. I think that would just date the movie. And I just think I don't think that, I feel like that's even worse. It's like, see, both sides are to blame and everything. Like, it's just like, look, this would be terrible. It's just the message is just anti-war, and it's more just exploring like photojournalism and all that. And I'm almost like, but how does he like photos? It's like, is this movie supposed to glorify photojournalists? Because if it's supposed to, it's doing a bad job at that. Because I'm like, these people are just, why would anybody in their right mind do this? And like, are they actually doing a service for anyone?
See, okay, or are
they just getting in the way?
See, when I moved past the fact that it wasn't going to talk about like real world implications or anything, I'm like, okay, so then you look at the photojournalism angle, which is obviously like a big focus of it, and I still just don't think he says anything interesting about photojournalists. It's just like, they're just like in the line of fire. They're kind of sensationalist, kind of not. But I don't know. To me, I was like, it came so close to say like doing something regarding like the ethics of being an unbiased photojournalist and like them being around all this devastation and not actually helping out or anything. But it doesn't really do anything with that to me. It just was, I don't know, very toothless in that regard, I would say.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like, I don't need movies to be super deep. And that's why I'm like, I feel weird like criticizing this, because I love plenty of movies that aren't that way. But it's like between like this and Men, I just feel like both are movies where like Alex Garland.
Men is clearly saying something, and it's the most over the top.
Yeah. I just feel like
stupid, blatant message.
Yeah. And I feel like he either overcorrected here, or Alex Garland in his current state doesn't really know how to weave these messages in any like, I don't know, meaningful way.
I don't necessarily. I don't think movies are supposed to tell you what to think. In fact, I don't like movies that tell you what to think. You have to be really subtle about it. I think I'm more interested, and I don't even think Civil War is necessarily this, but like movies that raise questions and be like, well, I'm not going to tell you which way is like right or wrong, but here's like a raised question for us to consider.
I guess I should clarify.
And I feel like it does do that with photojournalism. It's like it halfway glorifies them, but it's halfway like notice how they're always just in the way and a nuisance to the people around them, and they have to be like just accommodated. And is this venture even worthwhile? I think it poses questions there. Like, is this actually important, especially in this context?
Yeah, granted, I don't know how, war photojournalism actually is or anything, but I also to me, it felt very, their implementation and like being in the middle of everything felt very unrealistic to me. And the fact that like everyone is just like okay with them being there.
So that's what I thought. I was like, why would anybody care about any of these people within this context?
Well, especially like without spoiling anything, at the end of the movie, it's like they're alongside these soldiers and everything, and the soldiers are like guiding them through this place and everything. And I'm like, I feel like the soldiers probably have more important things to do than helping out these photojournalists that are just getting in the way of everything. And I think like that sense of, at least
it's
to
almost
me,
like if there was a photojournalist with SEAL Team 6 going after Bin Laden. It's like we're not going to bring you in our special ops mission. And to get you like, oh, you want to ask a question of Bin Laden before we shoot him in the head? Like,
and I felt like a lot of those unrealistic moments really took away from anything he was potentially saying regarding photojournalists. Cause I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. And I should clarify, I was going to mention earlier, I don't necessarily want this movie to like tell me what to think or anything, but I just, I feel like the movie just doesn't even necessarily say much in any regard or like even imply anything, I guess.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. First off, the movie I think is supposed to be pro photojournalist because Alex Garland, I'm sure that's where he stands. But I'm sure he's like, I could see why, like, raise these things so it's a little bit more seemingly less subjective. However, I think the point of this movie is just simply like traumatize the audience. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be like, I want to make this situation feel real and these consequences feel real to you and just not so like, I'm not going to make it like a blockbuster. And I think that's why the trailer and the poster for this movie don't represent the movie at all. Cause this is like almost like an blockbuster movie until the very end, which I'm like, and it loses some of the impact for me. But it's like, I think you're supposed to be like, this should not, especially from an American perspective, like us, like this is not what's supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen here. This is not what this is supposed to be like. This is not how people are supposed to act. And I think he did it in a way outside of what you're talking about, of like these very special missions, which again, it seems like kind of falls apart. Some of these littler things, like, okay, makes a little bit more sense. The stuff at the very end, I'm like, we were stretching here, but it feels very realistic. I think it feels, and especially taking the political stuff out of it just feels like, okay, here we are in a small town that's pretending like the war is not happening at all. Like that is certainly a very American thing to do. It's just to create a little bubble, secure the bubble, and pretend it's not even happening.
I think I love that scene. I think that I agree with you that is a very American thing that I think was portrayed pretty well. I do think though, for me personally, there are some aspects of the setting that are just like, they don't seem realistic to me. Like the whole fact that this is, the world looks like The Last of Us, basically. There's just like abandoned like car pileups on the interstates and everything. And there's just all this stuff. And obviously war is going to cause a lot of damage. I'm not, disagreeing with that, but it's just, I don't know. I don't think it would be like as borderline apocalyptic as this feels.
So to clarify, that, I mean, you start the movie in New York, which is it's similar to like the Fedra places in The Last of Us. They even have like that kind of equivalent here. And that's like you have the power to, but society isn't falling apart there. And I think that what happens, and I'm going to defend the movie a little bit, is they're going towards the front line. So, I mean, it makes more sense that like as you near the front lines, like it's society is not really a thing anymore, or society is stuck to a football field. Which I'm like, has Alex Garland played in The Last of Us? It seems like some of these things seem to pull right out of it. But again, his work inspired The Last of Us too. So,
no,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and kind of going back to something you had said earlier about this, like traumatizing the audience. And for me personally, this movie is just in that regard, it's just like worse Come and See. I think clearly this movie is very inspired by Come and See. I just think it is very.
Which I have not seen.
You have not seen, and which is probably partially why it works better for you. But it's just I feel like it's very clearly inspired by that. Takes a lot of the themes and is just less effective. I think part of that is that, like, I understand, showing all of these war crimes and everything, very disturbing. But I think a lot, like, we don't see that effect on like just regular civilians too much. It seems like it's mostly just on like soldiers and stuff, which obviously it's still not good, but I think it would lend an extra, like, I don't know if relatability is the right word, but these people that aren't in the line of fire having these horrible things happen to them. And without spoiling, Come and See, I think that's it. It leans more into that, and I think that's why it's more effective in that regard. So I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. What happened for me watching this movie is like I felt my adrenaline pumping, and for someone who's so desensitized to a lot of things, and to kind of go into this movie pretty skeptical. I felt myself very engrossed in it. I was like on the edge of my seat a lot of the time, and there's just the sound is just no holds barred, and it's loud at times, and just like jump scares almost, and it's just horrifying. And you see the characters, you're traumatized along with the characters. Like you said, maybe it's to a better effect in Come and See, but also, I think this takes those ideas and probably modernizes them and puts them in a new perspective when we probably might benefit from like that fresh take.
Yeah. I mean, I've been very negative on this movie, but I partially just devil's advocate in some regards. But this movie is pretty engrossing. I think all of the action scenes are very harrowing, really. I quite enjoyed all of those. As you said, the sound design, with those gunshots, I just watched it recently. Very much reminded me of Heat. The movie Heat, and just the gunshots are so loud. And that was a complaint for me for that movie, mostly because I was watching it at home and it was waking my roommate up. But in the theater, it like almost made my ears ring. The very first like really loud gunshot, which, as you said, is kind of a jump scare. God, that caught me so off guard. And they do that a few times. But very, very cool. I like how they did that.
I mean, for me, whenever I'm just like completely locked into the movie and lose complete, I'm just fully in this world and in this story, I think that's a testament to the filmmaker. And that experience happened to me going to Civil War, and it really doesn't happen to me all that often anymore. So I think credit to Alex Garland for creating this world. And I think, similar to A Last of Us, and there's lots of stories that follow this kind of formula of this really kind of world rich in like lore, but telling a very simple story and just kind of taking pieces of this lore and kind of just opening the door to this bigger world, but not fully exploring it, just leaving a lot to the imagination and filling just enough gaps to let you flesh it out in your imagination.
I do think, I don't want to go in obviously the complete other direction from that. I do think there are certain aspects of this that could have been explained a bit more somehow, and probably pretty naturally through just the narrative. But there's with all these promotional materials, I did see the one where they like released the map of everything.
See, I don't think you need to go into that.
But it's like, I don't, everyone is hung up on California, Texas. That's whatever. But you also have there's like a whole northern sect that I don't think is even brought up once in the movie. Which, maybe they just don't include that in the marketing materials if that doesn't even matter. The Florida stuff, it hardly plays into it. I don't know. It's just,
It's really just the Western forces and then like the USA.
Yeah. And I don't need like all of their motives explained or anything, but I'd like to know how they're different a little bit at least. But we never really, even if you were to see like through these war crime actions or anything that like Florida, maybe does one thing or something but I guess without taking sides, maybe that'd be a little hard. I don't know. There's just like, it's just to me, it's like a lump mass, like non-US versus US, like US or like resistance, I guess, versus US. It's more of what the movie like feels like. So it's just strange to me that like in the lore of this, that's not what's happening, because that's not the sense I get from the movie at all.
I think. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think this movie benefits from not going into any of it. Like, just not getting bogged down by it. I don't think that's the point. I think, like, trying to predict how civil war in the United States would actually go would just pull, like, then it would just not get the reaction it needs out of the people who like should probably see this movie. It's just, you're going to just get caught up in, well, no, actually it would be this people's fault that this started. It doesn't go into how the war started. It doesn't go into who is justified and who isn't justified. There's some like vague allusions, like the president dissolved the FBI. It's like, that's how as political in his third term. That's like as political as the movie gets, really. That's it though. And I think that, I think it just, the movie benefits from it. The war's already been going on for a while. You see kind of just the everyday life of it. So I think I think the movie benefits from it. And if you disagree, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on that one.
Fair enough.
Because I just think if you just start to define everything, it's gonna lose out. It's not Westeros. I don't need to. Yeah, no. Like, I don't need to. Are you back the Western Alliance? Are you gonna back Rhaenyra Targaryen or Aegon?
But I think there's a sweet spot you can do where it's still like you increase the world building a little bit without just fully explaining everything. And like the fact that you have these nonpartisan press people who have been around doing whatever, like, I could just have them recounting some stuff they've done or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's.
There's no such thing as nonpartisan press people. Kidding.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it just could have. They could have done a little more, a little trickle more, without being too heavy-handed.
Let's talk about some technical things. Yeah. Acting.
Yeah. Good. I think. Yeah. I will say another negative thing. I'll say, I didn't particularly love the characters in this for the most part. I think they're pretty simple and not in a fun way.
I think they made Kirsten Dunst's character, Lee, just kind of just that cold, unnecessarily cold thing. Like, I'm going to be. They don't
really get into that too much, other than I guess she's just seen things, I guess, like through her job,
or she's just being protective. And it's like, I get it. You're kind of cold and jaded, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked the I forget the guy's name. I saw this
Wagner Moura, the actor, or
what's his character's name?
Gosh, I can't remember.
The main friend guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was good.
He was good. He's the wolf in Puss in Boots.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's also, I knew him. He had a really good recurring role in the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith series. So he looks a lot like Pedro Pascal.
He does. I also like Thufir Hawat.
Yeah. Steven. Okay.
Sammy.
I love him. I think he's very good in the movie. It's annoying to me that literally like his entire character is just that he's old. Like everyone just says that to him all the time. They're just like, you're old, you can't do this. And to me, it's like writing, or it's the most obvious foreshadowing that he's gonna die.
Okay.
I liked his performance,
Okay.
but I don't know. His character is just pretty one note for me. Kaylee Spaney is the girl, Jessie Cullen. She was good.
Yeah.
Liked her. Jesse Plemons, scene, very good.
His cameo.
Yeah, steals his cameo. Uncredited appearance, apparently, which is interesting.
Uncredited?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think visually it looks really good. I mean, there's some beauty in all this darkness and chaos. The music, they do the whole ironic, like happy music thing, and I just didn't really like it.
Yeah, there were parts of this. It sounded a lot like The Last of Us. There were certain parts of the score that sounded a lot like that. But yeah, the parts you're talking about, yeah, it didn't really fit the tone of the movie for me very well.
Man.
The rest of the movie doesn't really have that ironic tone to it, I don't think. So,
but I don't know. Otherwise, I think the special effects looked pretty good. Like it looked quite realistic in terms of like the scope of it, especially when like things happen to Washington D.C. and whatnot.
Highest budget A24 movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think towards the end when things get bigger spectacle, I think it loses that perspective of our like little group that we've been following, and I think that hurts the movie. Because it's like this was not the point leading up to this, and then it's just like a huge kind of battle or siege.
Yeah. And the kind of end action scene has a lot. There's a lot of the climax of Half-Life 2.
Really?
Yeah, it felt very similar in that you're kind of helping out this resistance group and you're slowly pushing towards this central point. And that game, I think it does it really good in that game. That gives you a really good sense of progression. And I think that for the faults of the climax, I think there is a really good sense of progression in that regard in this movie here. But yeah, it's just a little thing. My little Half-Life fan noticed. It's probably not even a reference, but just a comparison. Yeah.
I mean, I thought I don't think this is that big of an accomplishment, but I saw the ending coming. I'm like, the character says something. I'm like, well, clearly this is just going to happen now. And that's what happens. And it's handled okay, I think.
Yeah.
And then the movie just kind of ends. That's it.
Which it kind of felt like there should have been a little more, but I also do think then you might run into where you were talking about it, just maybe over explaining it too much. I don't know, but.
So explain more, but don't over-explain.
Well, in that regard, I do think if you ended it there, I think it would be. I don't think you necessarily need like an epilogue, showing how the U.S. turns out or anything. Yeah, you don't need that.
No, I think for what the ending was fine. But I just was like, okay, that's how we ended it. Yeah. All right. I guess it's like the completion of a character arc. Yeah. So, but I don't feel like he really needed that. I don't know. It felt very. It was like too clean of a story arc. Yeah. In a world that's otherwise very complicated and not clean, just dirty, and things don't go the way they're supposed to. Like I needed some sort of like Seven ending, Like if a movie's gonna be dirty and twisted,
you're right. It definitely seems like it needed something a little more less. I don't know if happy is the right word, but less.
Just full circle. It's like here's a perfect reflection of this thing that I said earlier, and it's all wrapped up, and the character arc's over, and we're just going to continue in the end, the credits. Yeah. Not in a happy way necessarily, but just in a clean way. So that's where I'm at. I like this movie quite a bit. I said it was engrossing, very effective, traumatizing. I'm desensitized a lot. It affected me. I went home, I was thinking about it, and I recommended it to other people. So
nice. Not biggest fan of this personally. That's the first time think had really differing opinions for quite a while.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, it's not for me. Alex Garland is 1 for 4 for me.
You just think this is outright like bad?
No, I shouldn't. I'm not sure I should say 1 to 4.
Okay,
like
where does
1.5
this rank?
to 4.
Where does
This is probably
rank?
my second favorite of his, but it's like a big gap in between my Ex Machina and this for me. Yeah, Ex Machina is his one I like. Yeah, I appreciate him as a writer more than I do a director, I guess. I don't know.
Even though your problem with this was the writing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, it was same way with Men too. So I guess maybe I just like it when he writes someone else's movies. I don't know.
There you go. I guess your score.
Yeah, I'm probably at like a 5.5.
Okay.
For this. It's
So,
mid. It's
significantly worse than Godzilla X Kong.
I enjoyed it a lot less than Godzilla X Kong, is what I'll say. I think that movie accomplishes what
I
it
don't
wants
think you're supposed to
more.
enjoy Civil War.
Yeah, but I don't know. This movie did nothing for me. Godzilla X Kong at least entertained me in a fun, stupid way, I guess.
You ended up not seeing this in IMAX, right?
No, I didn't. I did think about it. I was in Minneapolis this weekend.
Did
but
you go with anybody this one?
No, I went on my own.
Yeah. See, you just have to
on my
go
own in
with
the
your
theater.
loved ones,
Yeah,
aka
right.
my sister and brother-in-law. My beloved. Shout out to Grace and David. Had a good time. They even went to Popeyes with me.
Oh, wow.
They had the full TOMP
Did
experience.
you have did you have an interesting Popeyes experience? We didn't do TOMP.
Well, yes. So I kind of am telling him, like Popeyes. Something happens every time we get up there, and our good old buddy who's always there is just like, man, I'm so ready to go home. Like unprompted, I walk up to the cash register, just getting ready to go. Man, I'm so ready to go home right now, just unsolicited. Gotta love Popeyes. Great food again.
Very good.
Once again.
Love Popeyes.
Oh, gotta love Popeyes. All right. Who's this movie for? Obviously, if you like things like The Last of Us, that just like the dystopian kind of apocalyptic situation. I think this is like the vignettes. If you're like more of I want to kind of get the feel of the world, the tone. If you want a movie that's more tone than substance, I think this is a movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like
that's
it's
a good way of putting it.
It's like okay, it's very kind of melancholy in that regard. And if you're a fan of Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons,
his one scene.
second greatest living actor behind Ryan Gosling. Those two bring me the most joy.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen is up there.
Husband-wife duo, Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons.
I was talking about Ryan Gosling and Jesse
Okay.
Plemons, but Kirsten Dunst is good as well.
Apparently, so I know we're wrapping up non-spoiler, but apparently Jesse Plemons, the actor who was originally playing his character, dropped out last minute or something, and then Kirsten Dunst is like, I'll just get Jesse Plemons. I'll get my husband to do it.
Yeah,
so
which he's just perfect for it.
he is so good.
So yeah, there we go. Go check out this movie. I think it's worth seeing. Don't listen to Holden. I think it's better than a 5.5.
Yeah, is what it is.
But we'll get into specific moments if you have seen the movie or if you're going to see it and coming back. Specific moments, analysis, comments, further discussion coming at you. Spoiler filled. So go see the movie, or if you just don't care, continue listening.
Yeah.
Spoiler filled discussion coming at you right after this.
Okay, so Civil War spoilers. The North wins, Jimmy.
The North, the North remembers. Actually, the West wins.
Oh yeah, you're right. I do.
Let me just go through some notes
Yeah,
that I
go
got.
ahead.
Because as usual, I just get out of the movie theater and just dump everything in my head.
I thought about doing that this time, but I feel like I remembered it pretty well. I just saw this yesterday, too.
Yeah, I saw this several days ago.
Yeah.
At this point, one of my things is so first off, I just call Sammy through Fear Hawat in all my
Sure.
the mentat, the Atreides mentat from Dune. So I'm talking about Sammy, the old guy, as Holden said.
Yeah,
this is
that's
one,
it. That's his one character trait.
old and
Old wise guy. That's really it. He imparts some wisdom and then dies.
endearing.
Yeah.
Got to throw endearing in there.
I like it. Yeah, no, he's,
Uh,
I like it.
doesn't anybody know how to stop bleeding? Like, are we not going to just clot that thing?
Yeah.
Put some pressure on it? No, just let them bleed out. Okay. One thing they nailed, Holden, West Virginia roads. Those things, ridiculous. Super narrow, no shoulder, terrifying to drive through.
Okay.
Oncoming, can't see past the corner, oncoming traffic. Let's just go 55, all these whining things. Crazy. And then ridiculous. Highways, they're just going to be narrow and windy and go through random little farm places.
Sure.
Nailed that. I watched the IGN, like my best shots thing with Alex Garland. They talked about that shot where, what's his name? Wagner Mora. What's his character's name?
Joel.
Joel.
It's Joel. Are you
I could
me?
not tell if it was Joe or Joel. Joe or Joel
with an L, so even more Last of Us.
Get him here early. When he's like screaming in front of the tank after
Yeah.
his buddy's killed, and through fear and all that. That was impromptu, and Alex Garland really liked it. So
Okay.
that's nice.
Cool.
The end credits photo, it's kind of interesting how it developed. Yeah. Wouldn't you think they would, like, the soldiers would show the face or something? Or is that in that
you'd
bad
think
taste?
so. I don't know.
Or it's just like, Fortnite posing over the president's bodies that not already in bad taste. Let's be honest. They're going to be doing Fortnite. One person's going to be doing the gritty.
Yeah.
One's going to be doing like the L
default
thing.
dance. Yeah. It's
teabagging.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, they're just like soldiers, so they're probably just like regular guys. They would probably just they'd probably show the face, like whatever. I don't know. And what little we get about the like world building, they seem to really hate the president, so they probably don't care, quite frankly. But it doesn't matter.
I guess I saw the ending coming when she's like, "Would you photograph my dead body?" Like, what do you think?
I rolled my eyes when I heard that.
I was like, well, clearly this is just going to be an inverted situation here.
Yeah.
And yep. And then as soon as it happened, I was
God,
like,
it was so that honestly, like, for all my criticisms, that was probably one of my least favorite parts of the movie, was her dying and Kaylee Spaney just jumping out in the middle there for no reason. Kirsten Dunst knocking her down. I was like, oh my God. And I did roll my eyes when she took Kirsten Dunst's photo, which,
and then they're just like, all right, let's keep going.
yeah, I guess.
Photojournalists, now heroes wear capes, Holden.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, so I guess like Kaylee Spaney's character is supposed what I gather is like Kirsten Dunst, part of the reason why she's so cold is because she's done this so long and has been just like through so much. And I think you're supposed to see like Kaylee Spaney go through that here to an extent. But it kind of feel like her character shift seems kind of sudden to like when that happens. Because I feel like the rest of the time she's like, yeah, a lot of things are happening to her. She's just kind of screaming, crying, empathetic in a lot of ways. And then that just happens. It's like a switch clicks to me. And it was like suddenly she's
they switch places where in the whole Washington, D.C., Kirsten Dunst is like shaking and can't handle it. And
I guess, yeah. And I didn't.
Jesse,
why does she start doing that? Just because it's a lot is happening. I like missed that. Why
probably
is she
because
like
Sammy died, I guess.
okay?
Maybe she just hasn't.
I mean, not making fun of the character because it's a logical, reaction to all this happening. But I was just like, to me, it felt like out of nowhere almost.
Maybe because she like knew what the world was before.
Maybe.
And Jesse's character maybe didn't as much. I thought the ending left a little bit to be desired. Like I said in the non-spoilers, I'm distracted when the movie left our character's perspective and Washington, D.C. just was like, all right, here's the siege. And you're just going to kind of, you still see a lot of it from our character's perspective, but a lot of it's just like the aerial shots with helicopters like blowing up the Lincoln Memorial. It's like,
I think
this is just detached from what we've
it was pretty funny how they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna blow up all these monuments. So that's kind of how it felt for the first chunk of that Washington D.C. section. But yeah, I agree. It just got less interesting, and it went on for kind of too long too, especially when they're like right in front of the White House. I was like, okay, you've kind of been sitting here a while and not much is happening, and then the blockade comes out. I don't know what they thought they were gonna do by leaving in car like that, but
I don't know. Buy some time, I guess. Throwing anything at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's that scene with the forest fire that is very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
The embers in the air, the sparks.
Cool.
I thought the cast was very good. Excellent cast. Said very The Last of Us imbibed pacing and structure. Nick Offerman's limited role. Said shocking to see American landmarks as part of the battlefield. One of my things is, would people actually care about the press in this environment? Which I like.
Yeah.
Like if I was anybody in this, I'd be like, I don't care. I don't care, especially in the American Civil War.
Yeah.
Like if we do get to a point where we are divided and we are legitimately having a civil war, no one is going to give two licks about a journalist.
Yeah.
Especially a resistance war. Like nobody is going, like, that is the subsect of people that is just like, I do not care what you have to say.
That's what
I don't trust you. You are the media. I don't like you. What news organization are you from? If anything, Jesse Plemons' character should have been, what news outlet are you from?
Yeah.
That was probably a little, might be a
more
little
on
too
the nose.
political.
Yeah. But
It's like, I'm gonna just shoot you.
yeah, I mean, I think, you could make the argument that in wars, like other wars where, it's America goes up against someone else, you could make the argument that America gives orders to its troops to, help out the press or something like that.
Sure, that makes sense.
That makes sense. But here where it's a lot more decentralized, it feels in some regards a little less disorganized. There's all these different factions, and yeah, like you're gonna have people that are just more of Jesse Plemons, like, oh, where are you from and whatever. Yeah, it feels
even like the
unrealistic.
people like, you stupid, like they're trying to kill us, we're trying to kill them.
Well,
Like,
and
that's it. That's the story.
And especially like you have like apparently they mentioned at the beginning of the movie that if you set foot in DC as a journalist, you're shot on sight. So clearly, like I think they're called the loyalist states, aren't like, that government isn't the most friendly to journalists. And that, to me, that would be the one that would be most likely to like help them out, if anything, to like, I don't know, but I don't know.
I don't know. Just as a South Dakotan, I am fiercely loyal to the New People's Army. As I peek at your Wikipedia page,
I'm from Nebraska, so I'm torn between being a loyalist and a New People's Army. But I don't know.
Gee whiz, California and Texas really raked. Being two states, they just straight up won the war.
Yeah.
Like good old half the country is loyalist states.
Yeah, that's politics aside, it is strange to me that, these two, they're their own faction, and somehow they're able to team up with these like states in between, and take them out. Wow. And I guess you can,
Nevada has nothing. They don't have any water there.
That's true.
They're done. I mean, California doesn't really either.
But yeah, I guess as you push forward, you gain more territory or whatever, but still bizarre that the New People's Army, which is the second biggest, I think.
No, but not population wise.
No,
but the least
they're not,
population.
But they're not mentioned at all. So
come on. So let's see. Again, nobody's gonna care about the press. They just go right along after Lee's death. Gotta love photojournalists. The ironic music I talked about. Okay, I did want to bring up favorite vignette. So you had the opening with the American flag terrorist water bomber person.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about my movie going experience here and why sometimes theaters are awful is just so that scene's just silent.
Yeah.
Just no filter from anybody. Just munching away on popcorn, digging in the candy, like just no. I mean, just like, seriously, you can't wait. Like, clearly this is supposed to be silent. You're not. It's like going to a quiet place and doing that. Like, what are you doing?
In my theater, there were two people that walked in like 25, 30 minutes into the movie. And it was like a quiet part. They were fine. Like I just thought it was weird they came in, but it was during like a quieter part, and they just opened like cans of peace tea. And it was just I was like, God, I don't know why they walked in so late or why they didn't just go to a later showing, but
They're sneaking in, Holden. So the opening scene with that the suicide bomber, the gas station, gas station torture, the Christmas sniper, Jesse Plemons. Those are the ones I have. Is there? I mean, and then the rest is just
I think those are
DC siege or
these are the main ones.
takeover.
I do think. Okay, so I
these were just off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I mean it's the Jesse Plemons one, right?
Yeah, that's the best one. But I was wanting to mention that leading up to that, there's the whole thing with like the other journalists that approached them in the car, and that's fine or whatever. It's kind of tense at first because you don't know who they are. They come up and there's nice relief when they know them, but like then they like hop between cars.
Yeah,
I was like, why are you doing this? Kaylee Spaney hops to the other car. I'm like, what are you doing? What, like, that's literally just there so then they get captured by Jesse Plemons first, and it seemed very contrived to me.
it's just young people having fun.
Yeah,
Holden.
just being crazy young people.
You got to have those crazy college experiences, even in a Civil War dystopian future.
Guess,
Holden.
yeah.
Young
You're right.
people will still be young people. Come on. I don't know. I was like, it's a little convenient, yeah, but whatever. I can forgive it.
But
It's not as airtight as the masterpiece, The Last of Us. Holden. We get it.
Yeah,
All
it's
right?
true.
We get it.
But yeah, then you get to Jesse Plemons' whole thing, which is great. I mean, he's perfect.
Just his shades and the way he just scratches his face so nonchalantly. Like, yeah, so what? Oh, this is
Where are
your
you
colleague?
from? Yeah, just shoots the guy, the first guy, and then oh my god, yeah, it was so tense, and it's like you have no idea what side he's a part of or anything, and he's just questioning them, and oh my gosh, yeah.
Like,
Best scene in the
listen to Thufir. Don't
Yeah.
go. It's stupid. Death written all over it. Amen. That was natural selection. Let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one was good. I guess second best one then. Opening, gas station, or Christmas sniper.
I did like the Christmas sniper. Although at the same time, I feel like they could have done more with that. I don't know. It felt like they were just pinned down, and then
For
they
3 minutes.
yeah 3 minutes, and then they shot the
Well,
guy. So I don't
got
know.
good news. I'm like, how long had they been there?
Yeah.
It seemed like a while.
It would have been more interesting if like they were trapped there for like a bit of time, and like maybe that puts them behind schedule. Like they even they're at the end of the movie they're like, oh, we're too late. That could put them behind schedule or whatever. But yeah, so I guess maybe the gas station is the second.
I think I like the gas station.
Yeah, I like that one. Taking the picture by the hanging bodies. That was good. Yeah, there was that whole thing about the gas station scene where like it was like the gas attendant only wanted to take Canadian money.
That was weird.
I didn't understand
I guess
that.
that's more valuable. I mean, because there's going to be a decentralized U.S. currency now.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's one of those little things that I'm like, on one hand it's cool, it's there and it's not explained. It makes
but
the
Canadian? I mean, seriously?
No, but it's like it's almost just too like it's like a little too like weird. I don't know. Like
What's Canada doing in this situation?
Yeah, what are they doing? I always wonder that. Okay, slight little tangent about like these little dystopian movies or like The Handmaid's Tale, right? Handmaid's Tale. I've watched some of that show, but I always wonder like, and maybe it's explained later on. I don't know. Like what is Canada doing here?
I'm wondering, why does this lady have a tail?
Yeah, right.
When are we going to see it? I'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
What's Mexico up to?
Are we trying to get through like the southern? Are people like trying to run away? On the southern border?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Too bad we built this wall here, President. Real subtle.
I do
Alex
think
Garland.
it's funny that Alex or I was to say Alex Garland. I think it's funny that Alaska and Hawaii are part of the loyalist states when they probably do nothing in this conflict.
No, Alaska's really pulling the heavy
think so?
lift in. Yeah. The last few guys defending the president, definitely Alaskan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, they asked to get banished to Alaska or whatever. The vice president, or whoever that
Or
is,
the speaker or something.
whoever that
just
is.
gets shot. She drew the shortest straw going out there.
Absolutely. I did. I wanted to mention. I kind of mentioned it non-spoilers, but that first like gunshot when they're like in the thick of it, like after the kind of like calm night moment, Kirsten Dunst is sitting there, and then it's like jump scare that was like that felt like my ears were ringing after that.
Which one? Where are they at?
It was where they're sitting. I don't remember what they had just been doing, but that's when they're like at the like Thufir falls asleep in the van, and they're just kind of hanging out. It's nighttime. That's where there's all the fighting in the distance, right? And then they like Kirsten Dunst is just sitting there. That's like a shot on her, and then suddenly like gunshot them in the thick of it. That's where they're with the guys.
I guess that was a vignette too. Them following that was good.
right.
And she takes
That
a
was cool.
picture of the guy dying.
Good picture.
Yeah, that's a good picture. Whatever Kirsten Dunst said.
Yeah.
Good thing you're shooting all this on black and white film.
Yeah, right. I don't know. That's dumb. I
You don't think they
initially I was
wanted
like-
that picture in color?
Well, initially I was like,
48 megapixels.
now that I'm thinking about it, like Kirsten Dunst mentions at the beginning that she was like downloading or uploading photos, so it makes sense she was on digital. But there was a chunk of me there where I'd forgotten that, and I was like, is she shooting on film? Like, is she like? Is that just what people do now? But no, it's just
Kirsten and I had to both have a Sony Alpha camera.
oh okay.
That's what we're glorious Sony Alpha A7C is what we got here.
Yeah, just Kaylee Spaney with her Nikon.
Yeah, get that Nikon out of here. Get it
I'm a
out of
Canon myself.
here. Okay, Canon. One of you Canon elitists. Oh, the color codec.
No, mine's a very mid tier, probably not even mid tier anymore. Canon camera. But anyway, yeah. What else is there to say about this movie?
I think I've said my piece, Holden. We've been talking about this movie for quite a while.
We've had a lot to say. Well, first movie in a while where we've strongly disagreed on a movie. So,
But do you agree that the promotional material is pretty misleading?
from what little I saw, I agree.
Like, go
Yeah.
watch the trailer. Like, it's
Yeah.
like the Civil War and the Western Alliance
It's
and
definitely
the political.
definitely playing into like real life tensions a lot more.
And
than
instead,
the
it's
movie
just The
actually
Last of
does.
Us.
Yeah.
Except they're taking pictures.
Yeah. I think ultimately a large part of this movie's problems with me are just that this movie came out at like, if this movie had come out like 20 years ago, like I wouldn't have cared. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have been watching it, but like I don't know. It just feels like it could have tapped into the timely stuff a little more than it does.
I think that would have been such a mistake.
I don't know.
So I just think you're completely wrong, Holden. And that's where we should end
And I
it.
think you're wrong. So
let's fight over it.
I'm the Western Alliance. I'm the Western Alliance.
I'm going to take a
'cause I
picture of
win.
your dead body. And I will teabag it. You
Oh,
have
nice.
my word. Press up for respects. There you go.
Press up for respects. Yeah.
Put enough in the chat. There we go.
With that though, Jimmy, move on.
Let's move on to our final segment of the show, which, of course, Holden, is What Are You Doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing?
All right, Jimmy. This week, I did a lot actually.
That's good because I didn't do anything.
Okay, well that's cool. I'll carry
Other
this segment
than
then.
watch the Conan Hot Ones.
Oh yeah, we
episode,
could talk about that briefly.
Which, if
Hilarious.
you have not, first off, if you haven't seen it, I feel like it's way funnier if you have seen several Hot Ones episodes. Though, like if in a vacuum, if you've never seen them, it's not going to be as impactful because you don't know how the wings impact people.
Yeah.
But watch like 3 episodes of Hot Ones. Just pick your favorite 3 people in the world, and they've been.
There's a
on
lot
it.
of good episodes. My previous favorite one, there's a Gordon Ramsay one that's really good. I really like that one.
And I'm surprised Conan is alive.
Yeah.
Like, is he in the did he have to go to the hospital after this Hot Ones episode?
Hilarious. He commits to the
incredible.
bit so hard. I mean, he comes in with some bits of his own, like where he's just stuffing the wings in his pocket after he eats them. He has his like doctor.
Dr. Arroyo.
Yeah.
He's not a good doctor, but he is affordable.
He is affordable. Yeah. And there's all these good bits. And then he like starts.
Where did you go to medical school? Oh, 1998.
Nowhere. Yeah, no,
And he just leaves.
There's a lot of good bits like that. I mean, the interview itself is very good. I think Conan's a very personable person, very funny person. So he's very good at just running with stuff. And then as it goes on, he starts dumping the sauce on the wing. He starts chugging the sauce, and he's just like a deranged maniac by the end of it. And even by the end of it, he's like, "This isn't a bit anymore. This isn't a bit." He like one of the funnier bits is he makes fun of HBO Max changing its name to Max. He's like, "I don't know why they did that. It was too popular, I guess."
Bashing his own platform. It makes me want to watch his show though.
Oh, God.
Which is the point. Yeah.
Yeah. His show's probably pretty good. I mean, anytime I watch like old interviews with like celebrities or anything, I always, if I'm looking for a certain celebrity interview and I find they did one with Conan, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch that one.
More. I did listen to a few episodes of his podcast.
Okay.
Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend or whatever. I need to go back and listen to more of those.
I probably should.
Conan is one of the funniest people out there.
Oh, absolutely.
He's just so quick.
Yeah, I mean, it says something that a lot of the funniest episodes of The Simpsons were written by him.
Yeah,
because he was a staff writer for them for the some of the early seasons.
But that, and then of course Ryan Gosling was on SNL again, and I was very excited to see they made a Papyrus 2.
I have not watched that yet. I did watch the Beavis and Butthead thing.
I have not. That's the one I have not seen.
Okay, that one's very.
See, I haven't really watched Beavis and Butthead, so is it still funny?
It is. Okay. I mean, as long as you know what the characters look like, that's like the whole point. So,
but yeah, no, I mean, nothing can be as funny as the original, but his monologue with Emily Blunt was quite good as well. If you haven't seen that, greatest living actor.
Sure.
Ryan Gosling. But that's the extent of Meal, so you can take it away.
All right. So I did finish the final 2 Evangelion Rebuild movies. Mm-hmm. Third one, I'll say, is probably the weakest of the entire franchise. I was like, it's pretty short, but it's the first one that deviates like completely from the series, and there's a big time jump. And something that the Evangelion franchise does that usually isn't a problem for me is it will throw terminology at you and it'll imply a lot of what it means. It will explain some stuff. It usually explains like just enough, but it's kind of like immersing you in the world or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this movie, there's like a time jump in between the second and third one, and a lot has changed, and it's just like there's so much that has changed, and there's a lot that goes unexplained in this movie that's like I'm confused by what they mean by this. It's still good, but just my least favorite. But then the last one is incredible. It's really good. It makes like the whole movie rebuild series worth it. Has a very interesting meta narrative. It's a gorgeous movie. I mean, it's came out in like 2021, high budget Japanese animated movie, so it looks great. Very cool closure on basically the whole franchise. It doesn't seem like the creator wants to do anymore, based on how that ends. So I really liked that. Explored some characters that previously didn't get a ton of play. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that one when that one came out. People loved that.
Yeah, it was, and I mean that was also, I think I mentioned before that maybe last week that there was like an 8-year gap in between the third and fourth ones just because of some behind the scenes issues. So a lot of hype for that one as well, but very good. Really liked it. And then I watched a lot of movies while I was in Minneapolis. I was visiting for a concert, but when we were just like hanging out in the evening or whatever, me and my friend, we were just watching random movies. And I'll run through them. I won't talk about them too much, but rewatched Madagascar.
How was that?
Not very good. A lot of memes in it. I do recognize a lot of memes, but I didn't remember ever being the biggest Madagascar fan. Lizzie McGuire movie.
Okay.
Never seen Lizzie McGuire in my life. So
what's the line? It's like, you are the sunshine that makes my life sparkle.
yeah,
whatever.
something like that. It was okay.
Oh, he said that to me too. And then he cut off my mic and told me to lip sync, and then he made fun of me.
Apparently, that whole movie's a big plot twist for very young viewers. So, but also watched High School Musical 2.
I didn't like it as much when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's been like never watched any of them when I was a kid, obviously I think the first one is the best. The second one I think is actually pretty good. I think like
Never did see the third one.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the third one, but I think like production wise, they're like insane. I think like it's very like, as movies, I don't know how I would rate them, but like they're very infectious, and like the choreography in them is so good. Like it puts like, I didn't hate the new Mean Girls movie, but like you compare the two, like just the talent that goes into High School Musical, I think is a lot greater in a lot of ways. And then what else did I watch? I watched Camp Rock. Had never seen that.
Never saw that.
Yeah.
Demi Lovato.
I've already forgotten most of that movie.
Is there a boy band in there too?
Jonas Brothers.
The Jonas Brothers are in there.
Yes.
Okay. How was that?
I don't remember much about it. I don't remember. It was just a few days ago, and I've kind of blanked a lot of it out at this point. It was fine.
Is that the one where she's like, "This is me"? Is that the "This is me"?
I think so. Yes.
Exactly who I'm supposed to be. Yeah.
I think that's it. I'm trying. Like I'm struggling to remember most of the music from it.
To the year 3000.
And then other movie. Rewatched Bodies. Still very good. Watched Fern Gully.
Never heard of this. What's that?
Fern Gully, really? It's an animated movie. Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. It's from like the 90s.
Never heard of it.
Animated movie. It's a childhood movie for a lot of people I know. I'd seen like clips of it, I think in like 7th grade science class. It's like a very pro-environmentalism movie. Like very much about don't cut down the rainforest and everything. It's okay. It was whatever. And then Cats Don't Dance, which is another 90s animated movie I hadn't seen, which I did like quite a bit, actually. Anyway.
Despite the lack of dancing.
There was dancing. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much dancing there was. Otherwise, that was kind of it for movies. I started a new season of Invincible. Pretty good. I'm through the first half now. I really like it. I know you were like torn because you weren't sure about Omni-Man. There's... At least in the first half, there's more Omni-Man than I was expecting.
Okay.
So if you're interested, but it is very good so far. I'm curious to see where they go. I can kind of see why they made a little gap in between, because the way the 4th episode ends, there's kind of a cliffhanger, but I don't know. And then I finally finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Loved it. The ending is very weird. But very cool. I cried at the ending, and it was a very difficult ending as well too. But I liked it. Very fun game.
Are you playing it on a harder difficulty or normal?
Normal. I don't think, and you can adjust difficulty. And there's even like a difficulty and there's like a dynamic one that'll just get easier if you struggle with it. I guess I shouldn't say like the ending is like super hard or anything, but it was just a little more challenging, a nice little challenge for the end of the game. But loved it. Very excited for the final part to come out in like 3 or 4 years.
The final Fantasy.
The final Fantasy. And then I started Alan Wake 2, and I'm not super far in it, but that has to be maybe the best looking game I've ever seen.
It's a gorgeous game.
It's so good looking. It is very Resident Evil like 2 remake inspired, I would say. It keeps a lot of mechanics from the first Alan Wake, but kind of combines it with that style. A lot more horror focused than the first one. Very creepy, but I like it so far. The story is very weird. I like Alan. I don't know how much they're going to do it throughout this game, but they like a lot of the cutscenes are live action, and it looks really good. I think especially
in the first game.
No, in this game.
In this game. They're live action.
Yeah, like live action, actually. And I think they're implemented really well. Like it's not, I guess a lot of times it's when like there's like a conversation happening on a TV or something like that. It's not necessarily when like 2 characters just like are in the same room talking with each other. But it looks really, and I think, it's pretty smooth with how the game actually looks. So very interesting. very cool. There's already like several Control references in it. I wasn't sure how much they were going to implement that into it, but it seems like quite a bit. So, yeah. Sorry, I did a lot this week. I did so much this week that it felt like the gap between this episode and the last episode felt very long. Because I was thinking, I'm like, what did I do like Monday? Oh yeah, I watched an Evangelion
by
movie.
the time the listeners get this, it'll be like 9 days.
Yeah.
So deprive them.
Yeah.
It's not as long as we have to wait for Saw, but it's a slice.
It's almost as bad, really.
I mean, for the audience, we don't want to deprive you. Speaking of not depriving you, give yourself a scar, because the scar giver is next week.
Yes,
Rebel Moon
Part 2.
Part 2.
Can't wait. See, the thing is, like, Rebel Moon Part 1, my lowest rated movie of last year, but I'm morbidly curious because I do like watching bad movies. I'm much more into bad movies than you are, so.
See, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. So
we'll see.
I enjoyed Rebel Moon Part 1. A child was lit on fire. They committed arson on the child.
I'll try to go in with an open mind, but I do struggle to remember a lot of what happened in that movie. So I'll have to read the Wikipedia synopsis probably.
They'll do a little recap.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Nice.
It'll be great.
It'll be great.
Can't wait. Maybe Abigail. We'll see if it's good.
I've earlier reviews seem to be pretty good, but yeah, Abigail maybe at some point, if not this week.
Yeah,
but cool.
Otherwise, that's it.
Yeah, if you want to leave a request, you can do so by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes or email us at tompodcast@gmail.com or donate to our Patreon. Yeah, and I think that is it, Jimmy.
Sweet, Holden. Until next time, adios, pantalones.
Love you.